Hello YouTube. I've got the keys to a 2017 Hyundai Santa Fe Sport SE model. Let's take it for a drive. So the 2017 Santa Fe is refreshed. Originally came out this model in 2013, but Hyundai has made some changes for 2017. They've got 350 new parts is what they say. This is an SE model. It starts, it's priced around 37,000 Canadian. I believe it's 36,899. It's a nice looking SUV. It's a 5-seater. This model has the 2.4 liter engine, 4-cylinder engine with 185 horsepower and 178 pound-feet of torque. Let's take a look inside in the back here. We've got a backup camera here. So this model doesn't have the electric gate, it's just manual, but you can get an electric option if you upgrade to a higher model. On the inside, you've got quite a large back area with a lot of storage. Actually, there's your tools down here, your jack and that, and you got a bunch of storage here. And then underneath this panel, there's even more storage. So if you carry things like jumper cables or bags or anything else, it's a nice lot of storage. You can take it out if you really plan on carrying something large. And then it gives you a nice flat floor for other things like groceries and normal shopping. It did not come with a tonneau cover, which is kind of a pet peeve of mine. They're cheap. Usually they're $100 or so. I don't know why they don't just throw them in. And there is a 12-volt adapter plug here as well. So that's the back. Unfortunately, you can't flip the seats down from the back here. You have to actually walk around to the sides. So let's do that. Well, let's take a look at under the hood at that 2.4 liter engine. Well, that's kind of cool. So normally you've got a left-right kind of latch to release the hood, but this one's got a single pull-up latch, which is really nice. The hood's light with the gas struts. There's your 2.4 liter engine. There's lots of space in there because there is the option of a 2 liter turbo, which would have a lot of turbo piping. Windshield washer fluid. You can check your engine oil. And there's a nice large battery as well. So, the back seat. We've got leather seating, as you can see. Now, if you want to flip down the back seat, you have to pull this lever. So we pull the lever and push it down. And you got a nice flat floor. There is a little bit of a hump here, but it's pretty much flat. Now, when you pull it back, you don't have to pull the lever, but it is heavy. It is quite heavy. And then it kind of locks at that position. So then you have to pull the lever to get it up even further. So it's not a simple thing to do. It's not light. You can adjust the seat in various positions and it will lock. So if you want to recline as a backseat passenger, you can do that. Now, of course, if you want to flip the other side, you have to walk around to the other side as well. So that's kind of annoying. There's a center armrest here with some cup holders in it, but it's very difficult to pull down. I'd feel that some kids might have a hard time pulling that down. So if you've got kids back here, you may just leave it down or they're going to have a hard time. There is 2 cup holders there, slow release. And again, the theme here seems to be hard to do. You have to kind of slam that back. We'll get inside to warm up a bit. There is heated seats in the back, so each side gets a 2-setting heated seat and mat pockets on the back of the seats. And again, another 12-volt outlet in the back seats. There's quite a bit of room. And hopefully you can see it. I've got quite a bit of room to stretch out, which is pretty nice. And then you've got a huge panoramic sunroof that comes all the way to the back. The rear seat passengers also get vents that you can open and close yourself and adjust, which is really nice. And then they've also got something that's usually reserved for more luxury cars. There's a nice sun shield And clip that on if the sun is bothering you, or if you've got a baby in the back seat, you can leave that on all the time. And the nice aluminum door handles as well. Let's move along. Let's take a look in the front. Alright, so on the inside, we've got leather seating, which is pretty nice, especially at $37,000. Up top, there's a nice large cubby hole here. You can fit quite a bit in here. It's pretty deep, about 1.5 to 2 inches deep. You got a nice display here, which shows you your backup camera, and it shows you red zone whenever you're getting close to a car, and if you've got a larger zone. And when you turn the steering wheel, it shows you blue, and it actually shows you turning as well, which is really helpful when backing up. Of course, if you got your radio, you can set phone. There's media, which is when you plug in a USB device. And there's also a clock, which shows you a large clock. And then you can set up the sound settings, and you can kind of move it around with the display. It's fairly responsive, but there isn't that much in there. It's just your audio and your camera, really, and your phone. Dual zone climate control on this car. If you hit automatic here, we've got sync, or that means that it'll be both the same, or you can turn it down. It's very cold, so I don't know if the camera can pick it up, but it's very slow at adjusting, but that's normal when it's cold. Down at the bottom, there is an auxiliary jack, USB, and nice and stiff. Everything seems to be stiff in this car. Stiff 12 volt, two of them, 12 volt adapters. Heated seats for driver and passenger, 3 settings for those. Parking sensor on and off. 2 cup holders, as well as a couple cup holders in the door panels. And a fairly large storage bin. On the steering wheel, you've got your cruise control, menus, buttons which control the screen in here. So in that screen, you've got car settings, speedometer, digital speedometer on top of the analog speedometer. You can also see your range and average speed, and you can see, if you switch it with this button, you can see which XM radio station you're on, and you can do a bunch of settings like how long the lights stay on whenever you turn off the car, and if the doors lock automatically, things like that. And it also has a temperature display, and it's -20 currently. On the left hand side of the steering wheel, you've got volume controls and your radio controls and your phone controls and voice recognition. Over on the left side, we've got a heated steering wheel, which is amazing, especially when it's -20. Blind spot detection. So if I turn off blind spot detection, if you look at the mirror, it will see there's an orange light that'll turn on when you turn that on. So that orange light will go on if there's a car in your blind spot. Dash dimming button, drive mode. So drive mode will select between eco, sport, and normal. And really what that does is reduces the throttle response or increases the throttle response. There's a hill descent control, so it basically does automatic braking on steep downhills. And there's the traction control off, and if you hold the traction control, it will disable the stability control, which seems to turn back on after a bit. All this dash is kind of hard plastics up here. There is softer plastics down at the bottom, and on the passenger side this is kind of rubbery. This is a glossy kind of wood trim. It kind of looks black in some lights, but it is a brown trim. And then, of course, your glove box here, which has got a huge manual in it. Up top, you've got a sunglasses holder and controls for the large panoramic sunroof, which I showed you in the back. I'm not going to open the sunroof because it's frozen shut most likely. There's light controls, but there is a sun shade for the sunroof, which is automatic. One touch and it comes all the way from the back forward. And if you actually stop, you can stop it at any point with one touch. and you can actually stop it going the other way, and then and it goes back. So it's kind of nice and convenient. So that's the interior of the 2017 Santa Fe. Let's go for a little bit of a drive. So first things first here. Let's turn off the traction control and stability control and see how much fun it is, right? That's the most important thing. Well, it seems like the stability control doesn't completely turn off because it's still kicking in. You can kind of hear it crunching away, but you can slide it around a bit. So you can have a little bit of fun, and then the nannies come in and say, nope. The first thing I've noticed about the brakes is that they're very grabby. And even when you lift off the brake, you can hear it kind of like lifting off abruptly. So they are pretty grabby brakes, which can be good if you're used to it. If you're not used to it, you end up having your passengers eat the dash a little bit. But I actually do like a firm and grabby pedal, and I just kind of get used to it as I go along. So for me, it's kind of nice. It is called a Santa Fe Sport, so I assume they're trying to be a little bit sporty with it. So you can feel the bumps. It's not firm by any means. It's not super cushy and what we'd say like a ride like the old Cadillacs where it would bounce around. It's probably pretty much exactly where it should be for this class of vehicle. If you really get on the throttle, it's not that slow. For 185 horsepower, it goes pretty good. But there is a lot of engine noise. You kind of hear it revving up. But once you're at speed, it's got a 6-speed automatic transmission. So once you get to speed, I'm at 70 kilometers an hour now. It's under 2,000 RPM, so that's not too bad. We'll see what it's like on the highway, how high the revs are on the highway. Visibility is good all around. Comfortable. Seat's good. Suspension is really compliant. I kind of like it. It feels, it's got a nice planted feel. It's firm, yet not too firm. And yet it's soft, but not too soft. So it's actually kind of dead on. Congratulations, Hyundai, on that. I really like it. I'll head out onto the highway and see what it's like at speed, especially the wind noise right now around town. With most cars around town, the roads are kind of wet, so you hear a little bit of that slooshy sound, but there's no noise. I don't hear any traffic. I don't really hear anything. It's pretty dead quiet. I noticed whenever I was looking at the vehicles outside, I wasn't very far from the highway. You could hear the cars going by, but I couldn't, as soon as I got in the vehicle, I couldn't hear anything. All right, well, let's get on the highway. Bear in mind the slushy, crappy winter day and winter tires on this vehicle as well. I'm not sure if you're going to be able to see anything. Oh, the sun's going away, but it's very slushy. So when you get on the highway, get on the power, it really revs out. Yeah. Okay, well, I'm not a huge fan of that. I like a little bit more power. And that is available in the 2-liter turbo, of course. And getting on the highway does show you what kind of wind noise there is. It's not too bad. It is a pretty windy day too, so, and I can feel the wind kind of pushing the vehicle around a little bit. Okay, so out on the kind of clear road, you can definitely hear the slushy, mucky stuff. So you could hear quite a lot of wind noise, especially coming from the roof area. I closed the sun shield on the panoramic sunroof, and there's definitely a lot less wind noise. But it's a pretty windy day. I can kind of feel the vehicle moving around in the wind, and you can hear the wind. So I'm going to set the cruise control at 113, and then I'm going to see what happens going up this hill. Yeah, downshift 4,000, 4,200 RPM, back down to 3,000 RPM. The shifts are very smooth, so I'll give it that. And unless you're looking at the tach and you don't really notice, you can hear the engine kind of rev up a bit. So I'll give it that, but it is a little bit underpowered. Back down to 2,200 RPM as we go back down the hill. So if you live in a hilly area, you might want to upgrade to that 2-liter turbo instead of the 2.4 standard vehicle. Of course, you're going to get more features for more money on the 2.4 versus the 2-liter, but the 2-liter lets you get even more features if you really want to step up to the high-end vehicle and get the premium package. Well, there you have it, 2017 Hyundai Santa Fe Sport SE. Does it drift? Not really, but you can have a little bit of fun with it if you turn the traction control and stability control off. Wind noise is okay. It's not that bad. It's just that it was windy whenever I took it out. But it is pretty quiet overall. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe to my channel. I'll try to bring you a car every week or so. I believe the next car is a Toyota Corolla IM, previously known as the Scion IM. Stay warm and have a great holiday.